you've been able to break it down. When I say you, PWC, looking at the analysis of the budget, the framework, they were trying to analyze it and see what can be gleaned from that budget. And it was noted that there was no really proposal for tax changes in this budget. But if you look at custom duties, corporate taxes, value-added tax, luxury tax, taxes for smaller companies, all of this put together, it will put some kind of meaning into what you just highlighted by saying we might even exceed what the projection is for. But we'll go back to what Chamberlain has asked. It has to do with the culture and the attitude of Nigerians and most people, and even corporate tax or corporate organizations. What is it that you think that we are not getting right away from corruption? Because sometimes some other people are benefiting from what such taxes are used for, talking about development. What is it that we have some who are habitual or culturally they don't want to pay tax? I'm trying to look at the corporate entities now in this drive.
I think on one hand, it's a combination of so many factors. And we need to start dealing with them one by one. But first, we even need to identify what those factors are. So you have issues to do with government on their parts, from lawmakers to the executive, to the judiciary, not playing their role the way they should. I even think that many of our lawmakers don't even understand their tax obligations themselves. Now, if you also look at taxpayers, be they corporate or individuals, it's a lot of people just not interested. And they quickly tell you why they don't have to pay. And for even corporates that are willing to pay, the process of compliance is extremely complicated. There's this survey by PWC and the World Bank that we do annually, looking at the ease of doing business and paying taxes. And Nigeria ranks 182 out of 189 economies in the overall ease of paying taxes. If you then consider the time it takes to comply with your tax obligation, Nigeria is only ahead of Brazil and Bolivia. We're the third most difficult country in the world to pay tax for guys who want to pay. And then you see it's contradictory. On one hand, you're saying tax to GDP ratio is low, people are not paying. But yet, for those who want to pay, you make it extremely difficult for them to pay, even to just get tax clearance certificates after you've paid.
And if you know this, and if you know this, because this is the outcome of a survey or kind of research, if you do know this, why are you still optimistic that we just might exceed this projection?
Yeah, you know what I've said to them is, if you just get everybody who already have reported themselves to government, the people in the formal sector that you can easily cash, right, to just file returns and pay, you can easily make that money. If you go to customs today and you just do a review of their processes, the people you need to fire them. Processes that you need to collapse them. I read a report where they said to get things out of the port, you need about 104 different signatures. Now, you can deal with those very quickly and revenue can go up. But to be able to have sustainable level of revenue for this economy, you need to do more than that. And what that means, therefore, is look at Rwanda. They came out of their civil war not many years ago. But in the past 10 years alone, just looking at the World Bank ease of doing business and pay taxes alone, you just set a target. If you were 120, you want to move up to top 50. And now they are the second easiest economy in Africa to do business after Mauritius. It's easy for someone, if you say, for example, you want nice airports, and somebody will go and fix 2 toilets and put 1 light bulb and say, you know what, nobody has done this before. Come and clap for this government for dividend of democracy. That means nothing. But if you tell them, you know what, get our airports to be in top 100 in the world, that's just that sentence alone means a lot. So for my ease of paying taxes to go up, I need to fix so many things, from administration to legislation to tax policy. And you mentioned that already about our comment to say in 2016, we did not see a lot about tax policy. It shouldn't just come up because it's politically nice to say it and say for small businesses to reduce their taxes. What does that mean? We already have a lower tax rate in the law for small businesses, by the way. So what you should think about is, how can we even create more small businesses? How can we get small businesses to become medium? How can you get medium to become large? Google is now the largest company in the world by market capitalization, followed by Apple. Google makes more than $20 billion in the last 3 months of 2015. Apple makes more than $51 billion in 3 months. That is more than the entire federally collected revenue of federal government and all the state and local government in Nigeria combined, one company. So the more you allow businesses to thrive, the more revenue you can generate. And I keep saying every time, the biggest impact we will make will never come from the money spent by government because it's small. It will be the policy framework, the business environment that we create so that people can thrive. And Nigerians are hardworking, by the way.
Speaking about that environment, pardon me, I've seen, because the impression that some have, they think that, look, tax and maybe the way they collect it is punitive measures for businesses here, because some governors say that openly, if you don't pay your tax, we will close your company and there's nothing you can do about that. And we'll ask ourselves, look, I thought they're supposed to see how they could. Yeah, of course, you shouldn't evade tax. I understand they say, look, avoiding it is not as severe as evading, but then they need to also create an environment to ensure that people are willing to come forward and pay, while businesses also thrive.
You know, they say he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. If any governor, anybody for that matter, says, if you haven't paid, we're going to close down your business, I think it's not being smart and not knowing the right thing to do. If you close down businesses because they haven't paid taxes, so where do you collect the tax for next year? Government will become bankrupt.